No, but that's the thing. I watched the video. You know? But it's just like it's a me problem with games that just try to be as vague as fuck. You know? Some things make sense. For example, trying to be vague on the ancient civilization that lived in the fucking ancient basin, right? It's okay because it's ancient history. You know, something that history has forgotten. It's vague, but it's fine. One of the major things actually was a bit of an inconsistency, but I don't know if it was made on purpose or not. That's the thing. There's nothing in the game that actually solidifies that. I don't see the writers saying anything about that. Is the fact that, for example, the entirely like point of Hollow Nest, like Hollow Nest is supposed to be this beacon city that any bug that actually comes near the city or lives within the city gains intelligence, right? If that's the case, how the fuck does the game explain the God Seekers, the Grim Trove, and pretty much the next game of the Silk Song, which is gonna take place like away from fucking Hollow Nest? So that's the thing. I don't know if that was made on purpose to make the Pale King seem like a smug jackass, or it was a fucking oversight because they didn't think that they would make another game on this fucking setting, you know? And like even more, even oh shit, even the it's pretty much like Vatia's videos, right, on Dark Souls. What he says, it's not written on stone, you know, because the way that everything is supposed to be constructed is to leave to the players to actually, you know, discuss yada yada, blah blah blah, all that schnaz. Actually going up. But there's no certified answer to some things, you know. For example, there's a vague explanation for the relationship between the Pale King and the other guys. For example, like the Mantises. There's a vague explanation to that. We don't know the intricacies of why and how. Also, that makes the king be full of shit because the Mantises, the fungi, and the moss. Yeah, the guys from the Green Path were here way before the fucking Pale King just came into play. There's some things there's a clear fucking answer to it. For example, like why the Radiance was completely forgotten because pretty much the boss think the Pale King's more shiny. Which is funny. Which is really funny. I don't know if that was made on purpose, that little joke, but it's funny as fuck. What I think it's the more inconsistent in... It's not even inconsistent, I think it's just like an oversight or is a character flaw. I don't know. The game does not fucking tell me that. Some people think yeah, some people think no, so... It's pretty much 50-50 valid, you know? Is the king's plan on the Hollow Knight itself. Which is strange, because, like... The king's plan... that's the thing. Oh my god. I really need some visual guidance. So the king's plan in like the name of the Hollow Knight, you know, Hollow, supposed to be empty, was to imprison the fucking Radiance on the Hollow Knight, right? It was supposed to be a vessel, be strong enough and hollow enough, to contain nothing that the Radiance could break. No will, no nothing. What's clearly a character flaw in that is the fact that the king decided to have a little moment with the OG Hollow Knight. Which I don't think it was a great idea on his part, but that's a character flaw, you see. Right? But that's the thing. Why create the Hollow Knight if it's just like a... something empty would do? Well, then I like tried to train the... which he has. Train the OG Hollow Knight in combat. Why train the Hollow Knight in combat if the entire point was just to imprison the fucking Radiance within him anyways? You know? And the entire point of this fucking game is that one of the endings, the correct-ish ending, which the game devs actually went, nah, every ending is canonical to some extent. That was way back when. Now with Silk Song on the way, either that is a prequel or it's a sequel, and the whole like, oh, any ending it's canonical, it's bullshit. So, I have to wait to see that one. Like the entire point, like I'm exploring the entirety of the Hollow Knight, right? And the moment like I break the seal and go straight to the fucking egg, if I do this now, one of the endings is like you just take the place of the Hollow Knight, you know? Just imprison the damn thing. But if I keep playing, keep doing all the shit that Metroidvanias do, yada yada fucking yada, I can actually fucking defeat the Radiance. Ironically enough, just because of this thing. Just because of the Dreaming Now. That's it. Okay, and the Horn and a Half fucking helps too, but I don't know. I just find it funny that the last thing the king thought was like, maybe I should, you know, I should like try to fight the damn thing instead of just imprison it. But like I said, I need the rest of the map, you know. Like I need access to the fucking palace. I need to see the queen, so I can have some visual guidance to it, to what I can and I cannot. Like my problems with it. Yeah, but that's the thing. Training him just to like defend himself, but what's the point? Because when you stop to think about it, okay, you already sealed the fucker inside the egg, for one. Made of complete void, mind you. How the hell the king did that? No one knows. It's not explained in the game, but he made this giant obsidian egg, put seals into it. Getting to the fucking Dreamers is a bitch on its own. It's only possible to the player because the player has the monarch wings and yada yada. So his plan of just keeping the fucking thing locked is airtight. Then why the fuck training the Hollow Knight to fight? It's so you can have a final boss fight. That's pretty much just it. Because they made the Hollow Knight. It's supposed to be the last-ish boss fight. And how the hell are we going to like explain that, right? Because the plan of the Pale King is just to create a prison. If like the Hollow Knight's boss fight, that even makes less sense when you go to the Kingseeker's thing and go to the entire fucking Pantheon, which I'm not gonna do. Because there's a grind. You fight the... I would say pure Hollow Knight, right? Without the infection, without everything. I think it's called the Prime Hollow Knight. I don't know what the hell it is. But you fought Hollow Knight in his, you know, his more majestic fucking form. And he is a cool-ass fucking boss fight. But again, in terms of the story and the king's plan, just like, you know what, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of the queen, get all these eggs, toss the eggs inside the inside the abyss. Oh my god, the queen is another like batshit thing. Gotta throw the fucking eggs inside the abyss and just see if the abyss sip into the egg, right? And to create like it's supposed to hollow them out, right? That's kind of how the Pale King understood how the fucking void works. No one knows how the fucking void works. I don't think even the void know how it works. Because the void is this thing that works like clay, but it still has a mind of its own, but it doesn't. And for what I could understand, as much as I could, since the ancient civilization, actually, the void is supposed to be a god, right? And for what the game explains is that the fact that the Radiance is a bit weaker than she was before is the mere fact that the Moths completely forgot about her and she lost power. It's usually how gods function, right? If you ever play Alundra, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, gods need faith in order to like be strong and exist and so on and so forth. So when the ancient, this is what I understand, when the ancient civilization just pretty much fucking disappeared, just was gone, like eons and eons before, the worship of the void just got done. This is my theory, and it holds just as much water as any other, right? For what I understood, the reason why the void is as liquid as it is because the lack of worship. He pretty much just went, I call it he, but it's more of an it. It pretty much regressed to its more suitable, more like weakened state, which is this liquid thing. I said the void is a god for the complete fucking point of the God Seeker ending, which the void takes a form and beat the shit out of the Radiance, literally in this case. And if you don't give the flower to the God Seeker herself, you know, now Hollowness is completely void. For what I can understand. This is the problem with the vague shit, you know? Because the only reason why the vassals, right? Like the Hollow Knight, the little guy, no, there's a little guy, and the other little guys. The reason why they have a form is because, you know, they were eggs. They were children before, you know, the void decided to go creepy crawly. But when you go to the abyss, like the pools of void, they have arms and eyes. So the thing is sentient to some extent. Right? Like the void's supposed to have a certain mind to it. But that's the problem. We can go on and on and on and on and on, and there is no fucking answer to it. Which is not it's not a problem on its own, but the problem is creates a plot hole, actually creates a gigantic fucking hole into the king's own fucking plans. Because if the king's plans was just create a vessel, a prison pretty much, he just wanted a prison. He didn't even think like, okay, maybe there's a way for me to fight this fucking thing. No. He just wanted to imprison the damn thing, right? He didn't even talk to the moths, for example, because the only reason why I can access the Hollow Knight's mind is because of the fucking dream email. It's because of that. And that was given to me by a fucking moth. It just, it's a brainstorm that goes nowhere. I hate that. I fucking hate that. Because you don't know where the plot actually affects the story, right? And you don't know where it's just mechanical thing. For example, the soul totems we find like spread out through this fucking place. They're connected to the ancient civilization, which it's pretty much serves as a beacon to collect soul. Okay, then how in hells, all in the 7 hells, is the totems able to like replenish themselves? Some totems will actually make sense. For example, if I have a totem like under the under the Coliseum of Fools, it actually makes sense because there's a lot of fools fucking dying on this place, right? And we have a totem like right here. That makes sense, you know? Which I don't go too much on the soul thing because it's a more mechanical, it's more of a gameplay feature than a lore thing. But then they make a fucking connection to the void, which is, I don't know. It actually opened up a more gigantic Pandora's box when you consider the dream of the Godseeker, right? Because you can actually get I think this is random, for what I understand. If you hit the Godseeker with a nail, sometimes what happens is that you go to a memory of the Godseeker. The Godseeker is outside, like really, really, really outside. Like she's beyond the Halloween cliffs, right? We see there are gigantic insects around. But the outside world is this barren, fucking dark as fuck wasteland. Filled with storms and all that shit. You don't need to explain that, you know? You don't need to explain the culture of the ancient civilization because it's an interesting mystery just to go around. But if something on the plot, which I see, the plot is like the flavor thing, right? If the plot is going to affect something in the story, which is the king's plan, for example, you need to kind of solidify more of the damn thing. Explain more, for example, why the king didn't talk to the moths. Because they worship him in some way. So on, so on, so on. The plan of the Hollow Knights were actually like, why make thousands and thousands and thousands of children just to like use one of them? One of the things that's never explained, where the fuck was I on the wastelands? Because there's no way to the wastelands. I go over here from this place, because when you go to the egg, you have a memory of yourself, you get all the way up here, then you fall back down, and there is no like path from this place to the outside. Which the only explanation that I have is that the void itself just like tossed me outside. You know? Yeah, but the whole thing about the void giving form, this is what I don't get it. If the Shade Lord, as it is called, is the void given form, right? Then this shit has happened before, right? Because if you hit the fucking Radiance with a Dreamy Nail, she calls the Void ancient enemy. Which means that the Radiance and the Void have been added at each other's throats for a long, long fucking time. So at some point, I don't know how, I don't know when, the Void had a form as well, which was the fucking Shade Lord. Because if the Void was completely formless from the very fucking beginning, if that's the case, then how in fuck can I get the Dreamy Nail to 800 essence points, hit this fucking Chozo copyright, it calls me the fucking Shade Lord. This thing is dead. pretty much, right? Because that's how the dreamy nail thing works. It's just like an echo of a memory of this guy. He calls me the Shade Lord. How the fuck he knows me as the Shade Lord? It means, which implies, not it means, what it implies is that the whole fucking Shade Lord thing happened before. Because even the fucking Radiance, this fucking statue, like right over here. The fucking Radiance calls the Void ancient enemy. So the Void had a form and an intelligence before. This is the thing that I don't understand. Because the whole theory on the Shade Lord, it's nothing more than a collective thing made manifest just because. Then why would the Radiance call it ancient enemy? If this didn't happen before. If the Void is not like an entity on itself. Because for what I understand, the inspiration for the Void, because this and Dark Souls and Bloodborne and whatever the fuck, this takes some inspiration from Lovecraft, right? Primarily if you're going to like dreams and such and such. For what I can understand, the Void works kind of like, what the fuck was the name of the elder god? Shoggoth? Shoggoth? I don't know, the whole like the dream, the idiot dreamer thing. It doesn't have a form of its own, but is sentient enough. This is how I see the. This is how I see the Void, right? Is a liquid thing which you can like imprint, create something with it, but it has kind of a mind of its own, which is the Void doesn't have consistency, which is ironic, I know. Okay, maybe, but if he doesn't call me directly the Shade Lord, then why he says Shade Lord anyway? It's because the Void has something to do with it. This is what I don't understand. Because the Void is a magical MacGuffin. The Void is a Deus Ex Machina, pretty much. Because it's sentient, it can slap you. It can control the minds of people because the guy inside the fucking tower is persuaded to like turn off the fucking thing by the Sea of Void over here. But then again, you can actually use the Void to make constructs. The Void itself can spawn something because if you go to the the snail shamans and the little guy, like, I forgot the name. This little guy, like, right over here. They manipulate Void. In this fucking part, for fuck's sake, I just went and got this. That's Void. I took it upon myself a snail sage. So it seems that the Void can spawn life on its own if left alone. But it also can be molded to something because the fucking... Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where's the collector? Where are you? Fucking creepy motherfucker. This guy is made of Void too. You know? He was actually made of Void. Because there's actually a... What's the name? It's not a forge. There's a mold thing with his form on it, right? Like, black fluid inside the thing. The shadow sometimes fits. Okay, this is just like characterization. Which is crazy. Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not explained, but they are made of Void. Because the shaman that you absorb, that is in the Crystal Peaks. Like right, I think here, I guess. I kind of forgot. You break the crystal, he dissipates into fucking Void, right? It dissipates into black particles, which is connected to the fucking Void to begin with. And you absorb the guy. But what the game is showing me is pretty much just telling me that, hey, this snail guy, the snail shamans, they are made of Void something, somewhat, right? Which is not like the Collector. When the Collector dies, it just become goo. It just melts in the ground. Whoop. Which is crazy because that's the thing. The only solid explanation that I have is the Void is a MacGuffin. Is a Deus Ex Machina. It does everything. Because my problem is not where the Void came from, right? I don't care where the Void came from. It's not important to the story. But that's the thing. The Void does everything. Because the Void itself can attack you. The Void can actually be infused on other life forms, it seems. Because the creation of the vessels and everything, because the king's brilliant fucking idea was to fuck the queen senseless and take every single egg and just toss it into the abyss, and then they got infused. Which creates a thing that's completely disconnected to the Void to some extent. But it can actually be imprinted with a will of its own, which is, oh my god. Oh god, humanity in Dark Souls is easier to explain. Oh man. But then you have the Godseekers DLC, which it completely opened up a new can of fuckery. Because okay, now I have to explain the fucking Godseekers too. Jesus. Okay, the Godseekers is a culture that actually seek gods, right? And through their masks, they can actually bring a god into a certain type of like celestial existence. Okay, this is why they actually try to resonate with the Radiance and actually pull out the Radiance in her purest of fucking forms. But also, they channel so much of the Void, which is not fucking explained if the Void only takes form because of the channeling of the Godseekers, or mind you, the Void always had that particular fucking form, which it's lost because of the lack of faith, because it was completely forgot, you know? That's the thing. That will never be fucking explained. And what, ironically enough, bugs the fuck out of me is the Void is directly connected to the story through the King's plan. And fuck through me. This little guy that doesn't speak, doesn't say anything. It's that's a clusterfuck. And not only that, the fucking trope already knows the Void to some extent. And my god, I'm not even going to go to the trope, which is a completely different culture with a completely different deity, of the Scarlet Flame, so on. It's weird. It's really strange. And also the Void can exist in dreams. Because if anything this is supposed to be kind of Lovecraftian in nature, when you go to the palace, which I haven't, but I've seen how the palace is inside, you find the king bloody fucking dead, and what probably fucking killed the man was the Void to some extent. I don't know if it's the Void of the constructs he has inside the fucking thing, or something else. All I know is that when some bugs has too much proximity to the Void, something strange fucking happens. I only say that because of the one bug you get the fucking Tower of Love key from. He's infected by the Void. He has Void leaking through his eyes. And he has some Void tendril like leaking from his body. That's what I understand. But this is the problem with something vague as this. This is the problem that actually affects fucking Dark Souls 2. We can be in this song and dance for hours, and we'll never get an answer for it. We'll never get an answer for it. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. Whoop. Fuck up the resolution again. Jeez. Because it was made that on purpose. I know it was made on purpose just to get like, oh, it's fun to speculate, and it is pretty fun to speculate. I'm having a blast. Pretty much just sitting here and talk how this fucking thing doesn't make sense. But holy shit, mate, it affects directly. The plot is so fucking strange. Like, yes, it's the thing, but because pretty much if the void is sentient in some way, it makes a lot more sense on the whole, like, it makes a lot more sense on the fact, like, the void that maybe has something, it may influence the plot in some way, right? Because why would the void, for example, there's interesting questions to this. Why would the void convince the guy in the tower to turn off the light? Because we see that the void is actually seeping through the ground. Because when we come, like, for example, on this elevator that is broken, void is seeping out like directly from this place, like from down here, he's seeping all the way over here. So the void is kind of spreading itself too, kind of like the radiance, and it's like in a different manner. And for the radiance to call the void ancient enemy, it means they have scrambled before, they fought before. For what I understand, I don't think that the Radiance was at least a moth-only deity, right? Because that was the fact that was the case. Then the moth over here, the last one in Hollow Knight, because I'm not gonna say in the world because I don't know, doesn't know much about these guys, right? For what I understand, pretty much the ancient civilization this is a complete fucking theory, by the by. They fought a war against the Radiants at some point. They fucking lost. They were buried and forgotten. And the Void was also fucking forgotten. No one remembers of the Void. No one knows the Void fucking exists. So on, so on. Okay. Then the fucking Pale King just struts into town with his big dick. Big shiny white dick. Like, I'm gonna make a fucking kingdom in this place. Because that's what worms do, which is fucking strange. Like, the whole point of a being is like, how we're gonna create a civilization, right? So he creates this entire fucking civilization. Have a problem with the fungi guys, the mantises, and the fucking moss guys in Green Path, right? Who also fucking forgot their god is the fucking Un, which is still alive, somewhere around here, I guess. So, and then he actually interacts with the moths, and the moths actually worship the Radiants back in the day, but they saw like, ooh, King Shiny. And they pretty much just decided to, oh, we're gonna worship the king because the king is more shiny, right? And then after years and years and years, that the Radiant got pissed off and just decided to, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna spread this madness infection throughout the fucking kingdom. And she does. Then the king got scared. I'm pretty much like trying to compress the entire plot into just like an easy to digest thing. So the king got scared, right? Because holy shit, my kingdom is going to shit. which I don't know if he realized that because the infection was already taking place or because he had fucking foresight, because pretty much everything in the story says he has foresight. Either way, he tried to find a way. It's pure speculation. They tried because we don't know exactly how the hell he found out that this place exists. Right, the ancient basin and everything like that. They even built a fucking palace down here. Why? 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 Anyhow. Somehow, he found out about the Abyss, and he thought it would be a great fucking idea to use the Abyss against the Radiance. You know, light, dark, yada yada, fucking yada. So his plan, either he decided to do constructs, which could explain the fucking collector, but would make the collector fucking ancient. So the other plan that he had, he went to the queen and like, hey, let's fuck. Okay, they fucked a lot, because there's a lot, and I do mean a fuck of a lot. Eggs down here, right? Shadowed shells and masks and all that shit, because they are the king's children. So maybe one of them made it up, which I think is the OG Hollow Knight. And he pretty much, okay, son, come on. And he trained the Hollow Knight to its prime form. I don't know how the fuck that works. Don't need to explain that. I don't think you need to explain that much. Because how the Hollow Knight became that big, which should open another can of fucking questions. Because when you defeat the Hollow Knight in the God Seekers, he reverts to his little guy form. Okay. So the king actually shares some moments with the Hollow Knight, which pretty much kind of explains why the Hollow Knight is ineffective as the king thing. But that's good thing. That's good writing, right? Because the king kind of shot himself in the foot because he actually bonded with the fucking Hollow Knight. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good flaw, you know? Which imprinted something in the Hollow Knight, right? Maybe a will to make his father proud. I don't know. Something like that. Which the Radiance took fucking advantage of. That's good. That's really good. But then he actually managed to seal off everyone. Right? Like, he managed to create an egg made of void. Doop. Shove the Hollow Knight inside. Chains. Okay, then he decided, okay, I need 3 bugs to just sleep around and serve as keys. And then he made a pact with the queen down in Deep Nest. Like, okay, the queen just went to him, okay, I want you to fuck me, and then create a hornet. And then he shoved the seals in. Okay. Here's the strange thing, right? Here's the strange thing. Or the game itself doesn't actually have too much of a timestamp on things. So he managed to seal off, and the Hollow Knight has been stuck there for how many fucking years? Right? Then everything is well and good until it isn't again. It seems like the Radiance just turned back herself up, right? Like, boom, oh hi, here I am again. And here is where I don't get it. Why would the king think it's a great fucking idea? Unless he had fucking foresight. That's the thing. That actually you could explain on the foresight, right? He foresaw that I would actually one day just stumble across this fucking place. Somehow. And somehow I was outside of the abyss. Or maybe the king himself just took me out of the abyss and tossed me on the wasteland. I don't know. But the time between now and when the Hollow Knight was imprisoned, the king just decided, you know what, I'm gonna take my entire fucking palace and I'm gonna shove it into a dream. inside of a being that's supposed to be hollow, which is the Mold Knight. You find like right over here. And somehow he died. I think it's because of the void. I'm not sure. The game doesn't answer. There's a lot of speculation on this, right? And then the king died. And then some bugs comes to Dirtmouth, just explodes fucking place. Some people make a town over here. I don't know if the town of Dirtmouth was actually existed during the king's rule or not. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Because the elder bug is supposed to be kind of like the wise guy. Oh, he's the elder. In his name is fucking wrong, by the by, because there are bugs inside this fucking place that are older than he is. Which opens a new can of fucking worms on the Coliseum of Fools, right? Because for what I understand, the Coliseum of Fools has been here for like a long time. A long time. Right? But it doesn't make sense. Because again, the game doesn't give you a timestamp on things. How in fuck do people get to the Coliseum anyway? Oh, the elevator. Okay. The elevator was locked before I arrived. Okay. Maybe they went to the Blue Lake. Okay. Maybe. But again, yeah, the only way to get to the fuck Coliseum of Fools, with the fucking King of Fools, he's dead also, and it seemed like a void thing, I think. I don't know. He's been leaking dark liquid from his eye. Maybe they use the tram. Again, how they get the tram, because the only tram ticket I found was in the train fail thing. Like all the way down here. It's crazy. I don't remember if the Coliseum of Fools was actually something from the base game or was added later. I don't know. I really don't know. But something that the Elder Bug says is, oh, I'm like the most recent guy to just pop up, you know, beside the green guys. Okay, it wasn't a base game. Isn't it like the existence of the trove kind of puts on the fact like the king was full of shit? Like the first message you get from one of the scriptures you found, like when you come to this place, is that Holland has to do the whole like intelligent thing and the intelligent bugs. It actually has a comic that kind of proves that. A comic on the... I forgot about the guy with the mask on his head. You know, the guy you find when you first visit the Black Egg. I forgot his name. There is a bug, I think it's a panda beetle, that he interacts with, and the guy cannot fucking speak at all. He just grumbles. But if that's the case, if the only mark of intelligence is because you live in a place where our worm was, then how the green trove and the other guys have intelligence to like seek gods and everything? Maybe I doubt. I really doubt that. I really doubt. Pretty much, yes. That one I agree with. That they kind of figure out themselves. Which makes the king a egotistical son of a bitch. I think. Even if the king was the one to write the scriptures you actually found throughout the, you know, the whole higher beings, these words are only for you, and so on. I don't think that Silk Song is going to answer them a lot of these fucking questions, because one of the things I doubt is going to happen is the Void's going to get involved in Silk Song. No, yeah, the king is just an egotistical prick, pretty much. Because one of the most funny things, if you go to the fungal wastes, you find the fungal core, right? And I agree with the fungal core on that one. Why foresight? Why a foresight of fate that is unavoidable? Why? At least I commend the king for trying. But if he foresaw, what the fuck is even the point? So one of the things I don't think Silk Song is going to have is something to do with the Void. I don't think that Hornet's going to interact with anything. Maybe she'll interact like with some NPCs that have some Void thing related. But I don't think that the Void itself is going to play like a big ass role like in this game. Because the only reason why I think the Void plays a big role is because the Radiance is involved, right? And the one thing that is completely solidified on this thing is the Radiance is gone. She's fucking destroyed. She's not gonna bother anyone anyway. The Void might. She won't. She really won't. People who haven't played Hollow Knight before. Isn't the story connected like almost? Yeah. Which pretty much leaves the question like, is Silk Song a prequel or it is a sequel? Because I really fucking doubt that Hornet has been just, you know, walking around all this time. You know? Because her mom, the Hera, the Beast, had been sleeping even before Hornet was like a conscience, you know? If I have a timestamp like, okay, she fucked the king, she had Hornet, and then she went to sleep. Which makes Hornet really old. I think. Which makes Hornet really old. She's older than me, I guess. No, actually, I'm older than her because I was... Yeah. Which I kind of doubt that Hornet has been just like exploring. Maybe that's the case. Maybe just she's here to just like protect the key. No. What's the name of the thing? This thing. The King's Brand. Right. So that's the thing. We don't know if this is a prequel, if Silk Song is going to be a prequel or a sequel. If it is a sequel, then like I think half of the endings in this game is fucking wrong. Like you getting trapped, or you getting trapped with Hornet inside the egg. It's not canon. Which either she helped me kill the Hollow Knight, and the most likely ending, Dream No More, I think is the name. The Dream No More ending is canonical. Or the Godseeker's ending is canonical. But if the Godseeker's ending is canonical, which I doubt, because the Godseeker's ending, it's a huge fucking cliffhanging. Because the Hollow Knight is freed. It's left ambiguous if he actually fights Hornet or not. Because you defeat the Radiance without even touching the Hollow Knight, you know. Which, okay, so he left 3 endings to be canonical. The one that you actually defeat the old-fashioned way, you fight the Hollow Knight, you go inside his head, beat the shit out of the Radiance, and the egg itself, and the Hollow Knight, and all other shades just go to rest down the abyss, and that's the end of that. Which I think is the most likely choice they're going to use. because it points a pin finality. Like, okay, this is the end of Hollow Knight. I think it's the most appropriate ending of them all, right? Or if they are crazy enough, I doubt, but if they're crazy enough, they use the God Secret ending with the flower. With the flower, right? Because the flower is the anti-void thing. Actually, anti-deity thing, because no one can actually touch the fucking flower. And I'll finish this one. And they like try to explain where the fuck is the Hollow Knight. I don't know. Maybe the Hollow Knight was the one that got Hornet captured. Who knows? Who knows? The only thing I can say for certain about Silk Song, the combat is way better. Maybe like the platforming is way better too. Jesus Christ. I'll be talking for like an hour, I think. And that's pretty